welcome to another episode of the Elite Agent Masterclass. Today is a special episode. We're on set with Mr. Simon Gates. And when I say on set, this man beside me loves playing golf. Now, if you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple, I would suggest you hit the link in the description below to watch us on YouTube. We'll be watching the round. Jack is terrible at golf, so it could be very interesting to see his reaction. Simon seemingly is very good, and I'll be somewhere in the middle. So welcome to the pod, Simon Gates.
Thank you very much for having me.
Scores on the doors. Mr. Gates is up two up against James and Jack, but don't worry, we're coming back very soon. Simon, I wanted to ask you, if you were looking to start your self-employed or even a status journey, whatever that might look like, where would you start? What would you do?
That's $1 million question. I think that, looking at this, likes of yourselves at the Avenue and what you guys have done, clearly self-employed. If you're going to go do it yourself, I think the way to go, I think it's like a 500% increase in the self-employed market over the last 5 years. I think that I had Paul Jameson from 20A on my podcast recently, and I think around at least 2% of the market is, or listings of the market are self-employed. It's clearly growing. And I look back at myself and I'm a big fan of independent estate agency, don't get me wrong, and self-employed can be right for some people, it's not right for others, and I'm slightly digressing, but I could not see myself going back to being a branch manager. If I was an estate agent again tomorrow, you would not see me as a branch manager, no chance. I actually think I may be unemployable. So the self-employed and the brokerage route, I think, is what I would consider, because I was saying to you guys before that Simon Gates estate agents above the door would scare the hell out of me, I think, and the upfront expense, Rightmove bill, etc. Yeah, I think, let's say Rightmove is $1,500 to $2,000 a month, whatever it is. Even if you're not selling houses, you've got to pay that bill. And I guess from maybe a more of a fixed mindset, but at least at the start, if you're not selling houses, you can go, well, there's various self-employed models out there which will have different levels of cost per month, but call it a couple £100. There's an arbitrary number. It gives you scope to then invest, well, first of all, pay your mortgage if you've got a mortgage, feed your kids, whatever, but then reinvest that in other marketing outside of Rightmove, because I think that too many agents get fixated on Rightmove and, it's not providing me enough valuation leads. Rightmove is not there to give you valuation leads. So if you spend all your money on Rightmove and think it will bring you leads, you're fooling yourself. You want to have some of that money to invest in direct mail, social media, networking, etc., which I know you guys do very well.
Yeah. Rightmove's been the biggest portal out there for anyone looking at property. Agents have got to see that as a marketing tool as well, a vehicle to get themselves in front of people if you're marketing your property in the right way.
So here's a stat for you on the marketing there. According to Rightmove, 69% of buyer inquiries have a property to sell, and 52% of them are not yet on the market when they inquire. So when you're looking for valuation leads, you're not going to get someone phoning you up from Rightmove saying, hello, I'd like my house valuing, but if you market your property in the correct way, you're going to attract buyers. They're going to be impressed with your marketing. They will have a house to sell 2/3 of the time, a lot of the time in your area, and half the time they're not even on the market. Yeah. So your sellers of tomorrow, as the classic saying, are the buyers of today. You work them the right way, you're then going to sell theirs.
So it's making the most of those opportunities as well.
Absolutely. Great strike.
Oh, it sounded lovely. Opening the gates, goes 3 up through 4 holes against the Avenue. At the minute, this feels like a spanking, but let's see how the remaining 14 holes go. So, Simon, you referred to a stat about Rightmove. 70-odd% of people have got a house to sell that are looking for a property, and then 50% of those
are not yet on the market.
So it would therefore make logical sense to worry more about what you do in terms of serving those clients rather than the source of the lead in the first place. So what would your advice to someone out there, whether it be, let's forget the genre of estate agency for the moment, but what should people be doing differently that majority aren't doing right now in terms of serving those people?
So you could do this if you're corporate, independent, self-employed, and I know you guys have had success with this, but yeah, leveraging your buyers and doing VIP buyer campaigns, because if 2/3 of buyer inquiries have a house to sell and half of them are not on the market, they're not on the market because they haven't found somewhere. Too many estate agents go around offering free and obligation valuations, trying to find the next house to sell. Yeah. But if you actually match the buyer to the house and they've got something to sell, you'll start building chains.
Yeah.
And it works really well as a service, because if you start sending out letters and the homeowner sees something that's, dear neighbour, you know, we've got Simon and Louise looking for 4-bed detached, big garden, they want to be in this area because of the school catchment for their kid or whatever. If you're contemplating moving in the future, we'd love to have a conversation, rather than, do you want a free valuation?
Yeah.
Works like that.
It triggers the conversation in the next step in the journey, doesn't it? It's that chain of events. And I think you've alluded to this stat before, and it's just obviously commonly available. Only around 2% of the general population are ever actively on the market. Let's say they've got the house on Rightmove and a board outside. But generally speaking, especially post-pandemic, we've seen it around 20 to 25% of people may be considering a move. And so your letter dropping at a timely moment where that consideration phase is there, and you've got Simon and Louise who aren't under any time pressures looking for a 4-bed detached, it just gives you the peace of mind, well, actually there's a buyer in the market for me, let's take action.
So on your point there, and I think you said around like initial introduction, too many estate agents are sending out content or posting content which is thinking of selling now or thinking of selling tomorrow. No, I'm not. But if they're contemplating the next 6 to 12 months and they get a letter through the door that says someone's looking to buy a house just like theirs, so it's not a generic, we have someone for your house. They've literally gone, oh my God, they want an open plan kitchen, they want a south-facing garden, they want to be on this side of the estate. They've literally described our house. Maybe we get Simon and Louise in for a conversation through the estate agent that sent the letter.
Yeah.
But again, you can do that on social media as well, put it out in the local Facebook groups. I've seen, so where I am, you've got the chit chat group of Newport Pagners, probably 20,000 members. There are people who have posted in there as themselves, hey, we've just sold our house, we're looking for something in Newport.
Yeah.
And estate agents are in there going, oh, ring me and we can have a chat, when it's like, actually, why don't you screenshot that Facebook thread, put it in a letter and say, Simon and Louise have just put on Facebook they've sold, this is what they're looking for.
Yeah.
If you're thinking of moving, get in touch.
Absolutely.
What a great way to leverage that.
Well, brilliant campaign. It shows two things though, doesn't it? One, that you're proactively trying to support someone in their endeavours to buy. So from the home buying public perspective, they're looking at that and going, these guys are doing something different. And I think secondly to that, you're essentially taking what's already in the public domain and claiming it almost to an extent as becoming your own. So it's just that proactive piece. And you saying about the more specific in nature, the better. I had one earlier this year, had a client looking for a property that had land, but they wanted a very specific amount of land. Well, obviously I used the tools that we've got available to us, sent out 92 letters, and that turned into 9 MAs. Yeah. But one person that I'd written the letter to, basically when she rang me, she initially wasn't going to call, thought it was a scam because it was so specific. She said to me, I felt like you were almost exclusively describing my property. It was that specific, but it was 92 properties in a 5-mile radius of a central pinpoint. 3 of them did want to list. Unfortunately, none of them were appropriate for the client. But the point is it led to those relationships. So yeah, a really, really good point. So we're another hole down, but we didn't lose the hole. So we're still in play. Simon, we talked about the value of buyers, and I think, would you agree that a lot of estate agents tend to focus too heavily on sellers, and actually if they could change their mindset around how best to engage with buyers, that there's as greater opportunity to serve the buying community as there is the selling?
100%. If you think that literally 99% of an estate agent's marketing, as we said earlier, is, do you want a free no obligation valuation? Are you looking to sell? All the banner ads on Rightmove say, click here to get a valuation. No one is saying, like, click here to let us help you find your next home. So it's such a massive part of the market. And if you actually go back to old school, before a CRM, before Rightmove, and we're talking, what do you call them? I didn't ever use them. No, the boxes.
Boxes?
The
hot box.
Hot box, thank you. So I'm not old enough.
I started my career.
I'm not old enough to remember the hot box. It was just after that. But you know, when a house would come on the market, it's like, right, who have I got that I can match to that? The estate agency is no different. It's about matching buyers to the right houses. But I think when you're just going out and chasing free valuations and looking to sell tomorrow, you're just vanilla. You're the same as everyone else. But if you can be saying, tell us what you want and we'll go find it. Too many estate agents will say, I'll just check Rightmove every day. If you're saying check Rightmove every day, why are they going to come contact you? And I think the key thing as well is that why would someone go and contact all the local estate agents at Newport Pagnell, for example, if they're looking to buy a house when they could just go to Rightmove? So what are estate agents doing to combat that is come to us and we'll help you find a property before it hits the market, or we'll do a sneak peek, a pre-launch. So there's so much gold in buyers. and it's just leveraging that more. And Jack was speaking about it off camera, but and I know Perry talks about it, the onward negotiation. If someone views a house and doesn't buy through you, tell them you'll help them negotiate their next one, or let me help you find some. But there's so much extra revenue that could be earned, particularly in the self-employed model, where you can be offering that bespoke concierge service. Why not offer that to clients?
Brilliant. Right, so we're not going to mention the score. We'll leave that till a little bit later. However, we have just walked past after the 8th hole. There's a property that's on the market right on the edge of the golf course. What are your thoughts, Simon, about, well, what would you do in that instance? It's on the market with another agent. It hasn't sold. Should it be door knocked?
Do you know, actually, we said after that's just happened, oh, let's record, that'd be a good bit. And as you said it, I've actually thought even more about it. I haven't preempted thinking this, but considering I'm a member here, I'm now thinking, if I was an agent and I'm a member at this golf course, what a great excuse to knock the door.
Yeah, I'm 8 holes into a round.
I'm 8 holes into a round. I know you're on the market, and there's some things I think that you could benefit from. There's not a mention really around the golf club. I'm a member here, so I love my golf. I think that's a real great bit. I do some videography, me playing on the course like we're doing today. I'd be saying that, really. There's such a good angle in.
There could even be potential promotion with the network of the golf course.
Well, for example, in that promotion, you get an email to go out to the members on behalf of the club saying there is a property on the market on the course. This is what it is. If you want to come and have a look, contact Simon.
Real? So you are for door knocking, not anti-door knocking?
100% for it, but I'd say 2 things on it. One, what used to happen to me of the competitors, they'd knock on a door and say, you've got a 2-week calling off period, we'll do it for 0.5%. That's not cool. I think the false knock on the door, hello, can I help you find somewhere, is bullshit. But if you genuinely mean it, let me help you find somewhere, and they say, I want to live on Smith Street and I want to be that side because I want a south-facing garden with views, you then go and door knock houses on that street or send letters to that street, or you go on Rightmove Plus and see if anything's withdrawn in recent years, that's fine. Just a door knock has to all be about giving value to that person rather than what can you get out of it. And as long as you've got their best interests at heart, there's no reason why you shouldn't do it.
Great feedback, Simon. Let me go find that house.
So Simon, we've talked about door knocking, we've talked about direct mail campaigns, we've talked about how buyers can be such a great opportunity to build your marketplace. With all of that considered, and with everything that's going on in the industry right now, the advancements in tech, AI, where do you see the industry going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh, what a question. Self-employed will continue to grow. I don't think that's stopped. There'll be lots of mergers and acquisitions that keeps happening. I think fees will continue to come down for most, because whilst you guys, for example, are wanting to deliver the best value and experience and result for your clients, therefore justifying a higher fee, too many agents go, what can I cut back so I can charge less? Because they've got it in their head that by charging less is what the client wants. So you'll see agents who are still not doing professional photos or don't have floor plans or not investing in video because they're like, I can just cut back on that. But the very best agents are thinking, how much more value can I add so I can charge a client more?
Interesting dynamic there. So I suppose with the way you've delivered that, it's quite fair to say that your belief is in increasing value, therefore increasing fees, etc. What does it look like for these people that are lowering the value of their proposition, though? Does that lead to, I suppose, let me give my opinion and then it'd be interesting to hear yours. The lower you deliver your fee, there's only so low you can go before you start paying for it yourself, or you're free, right? So that surely is a business model that has an end. There is no longevity in being the cheapest or second cheapest in the marketplace. But as Dan Kennedy said, there is a significant advantage to being the most expensive. So what would your advice be to these people that may be listening in? And I don't know whether they will be, because they may not be the types that are forward-thinking and growth-minded. But if they are, and they are in that battle where it's like, okay, someone's charging 0.5%, we're coming at 0.4, and what do they need to do? Where do they start changing that dynamic?
Well, first of all, I think I've said this on other podcasts, and another prediction I've got is that, essentially, to be the cheapest in the market right now, you have to be paying the seller to list their property.
Yeah.
Because the cheapest is free right now. And I think there will be probably a heavily backed company who does actually start saying, James, you're the seller, I'll give you 200 quid to list your property. And then they'll be selling off buyer leads to conveyancing and mortgage referrals, for example. And just on that point, there's agents who will try and generate revenue out of referrals to solicitors, which is nothing wrong with as long as it's not conditional selling. But rather than concentrating on getting £100 or £200 off of a solicitor referral, maybe work with a solicitor that's got a proven track record of a lower fall through rate and will get transactions through quicker, because cash flow is such an issue for agents.
Yeah.
So that thing there. And then in terms of like the other end of that, by charging the most, I'd use that as a USP. And people go, why would I go with you if you're the most expensive? Well, if I'm the most expensive, I'm going to be spending the most on marketing, the most on training, the most on tech, and the most on the most amazing people. James, you're the seller, and just role play, for example. Right, another agent's come and said 0.5%. What's the first thing they're going to cut costs on? It's not going to be paying themselves, it's going to be on your marketing, which is going to reduce your chances of selling, which is why literally half the properties that come to market don't sell, because they're just not being marketed well enough.
Brilliant.
And that's the game.
So Simon, we are September. We've got a quarter left to go for the year. Imagine you are Simon Gates estate agents, whether that's self-employed or standalone. What would be the plan for the final quarter to ensure it's been an amazing 2024?
Yeah, I'd say really speed up and don't slow down on things. I was actually saying off camera earlier about getting an analogy in. Didn't know you were going to ask that, and I think the analogy might be quite good. As we get towards the end of the year, a lot of agents might slow down as we come towards Christmas. And it's a bit like, for example, hitting so James, I think you will like this from what we discussed earlier, it's a bit like hitting a golf shot into a hole that's got a lot of wind on it. And what most golfers do is they take too little club, but you actually want to hit an extra club. So my point is, so many agents towards the end of the year will go, it's a bit quiet, let's spend less on marketing. You actually want to double down on marketing and spend more on it. And you'll be getting your pipeline going for January. So my last few years of agency, I do a lot of direct mail campaigns towards the end of the year. January come along and had loads of appraisals in my diary, whereas all the other offices, it would be in January and they'd be like, where's all our appraisals? Well, it's because I've done the work 90 days prior to it. So yeah, don't take your foot off the gas. I think I'm conscious this is time relevant, but we've got the big budget coming up at the end of October. A lot of people sit on their hands and go, what might happen there? Again, agents should be saying typically mortgage approvals go up the month after the budget. Why not act now before there's lots of other competition in the market?
Sound advice. So essentially zig whilst everyone else is zagging.
Absolutely, yeah.
Unique opportunity, hitting the doorstep, hitting more people with more of a marketing message. So essentially what you're saying is this next 90 days, there'll still be business to be done, but you're building your pipeline, you're building your audience, you're building your platform ready for January so that you're front and centre. Because a lot of people over Christmas start to think about moving, don't they? It's like August coming into September. I don't know about anyone else, but I tend to find September is always a really busy period after the summer holidays. Same for January.
You think about just the Christmas thing as well. So we're discussing Christmas as well. Sending out Christmas cards. So some really interesting data came out from Royal Mail recently. So one, first class stamp has gone up. So agents can spend less money on direct mail because it costs more. Mm-hmm. So zigging, zagging kind of thing. Yep. Lots will spend a lot more time on socials. Yep. So actually maybe double down on direct mail. I think the average household compared to 10 years ago gets 4 pieces of direct mail a week compared to 14. There's a lot less direct mail coming through the door. So imagine as Christmas comes, nice personalised Christmas card to people who've bought or sold through in your past, or Christmas cards to people who are on the market right now, and that will set you up for January.
Brilliant, brilliant. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Today has been an absolute whitewash from opening the gates over the avenue. What was the end result? 7 and 6. So for those of you that don't know golf, he absolutely whooped us, and there was 2 of us. So well done.
Thank you.
I have to say, in our defence, Simon played the best round of golf he's played in 20 years. His words, not mine. His words, not mine. But it's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for hosting us at your wicked golf club. Anyone that is a client of Simon, make sure you tap him up to make sure he gives you the invite, because it is a great round of golf, lovely facilities, and average company. Simon, really, really appreciate you joining us on the pod. And until next time, that was the Elite Agent Masterclass.